Welcome to TalkNorth.com. Thanks to our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. And please follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Two promo codes to be aware of. BiteSquad.com. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. And go to SodaStick.com, the great local apparel company. Use the promo code YouBetcha to get free shipping on any sized order. We will, of course, talk trades, those that have been made and those that are yet to be made. This is kind of a trading deadline show, but we also want to talk some baseball. So if this show reaches you after the Twins have made additional trades, we'll get to those later in the week as well. We still actually want to talk baseball as well as the rampant speculation that occurs this time of year. This is Roy Smalley's Chin Music, part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. Check out all of our shows at TalkNorth.com or subscribe at your favorite podcast app. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Thanks to our sponsors, Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com, Tony Hoagund, your State Farm agent, Champlin, and Bite Squad, bitesquad.com. Let's start with the Romo trade, and then we want to talk some home runs. They get Sergio Romo. I didn't necessarily think they were going to go get Sergio Romo, but I did think this is the kind of deal they were going to do. They trade a guy who isn't necessarily a big part of their future plans for a guy who is experienced and competent, if not the guy who will excite the masses. What are your thoughts on that deal, Roy?
I think it's a really good deal. And with the caveat, I don't know an awful lot about Luis Diaz. I really don't. But I think it's clear to everybody that they needed bullpen help. They got a guy that's been on 3 World Series teams with the Giants, and even though he's older now, he's still pitching well. And I think to get a guy with the way he's pitching now, with the experience that he has in the past in pennant drive and postseason kind of play, I think it's pretty cheap. They also got another arm and a player to be named. So it could turn out to be a really great deal. I think it was at worst. The worst case scenario is it's a non-factor, and really hoping it's not just an average deal. I kind of tend to think it's going to be a pretty nice deal for them.
And Romo probably is slated. We know that they're going to move people around. They don't necessarily have a closer per se, even though Rogers is their best late game reliever. But he could fit into the 8th inning. He could be somebody who combines in the 9th, right, left. He could be somebody who closes if Rogers is tired. I think we saw what happened when they overworked Rogers. He suddenly becomes far less effective, like most pitchers. And he's been there before. His velocity is not what it used to be, but he's still getting people out with his breaking pitches and spotting his fastball. So again, I don't think it's the kind of move that excites the average fan who expected them to go out and trade for Madison Bumgarner. I think it's an effective trade. I also think they're going to do something else. We're talking here, by the way, at 1 o'clock on Monday. The trade deadline is Wednesday, so who knows what's going to happen. I do think they're going to trade for another reliever. I don't think they're going to put on the table what it would take to get a quality starter. I also don't know how many of the quality starters that are out there are really going to be dealt for any reasonable price, but we'll see. Let's get some actual baseball now, because again, people get consumed with people will spend 2 months talking about trades that will never get made. I actually like the game on the field. And by the way, Roy, I was in Chicago this weekend with my wife, just on a quick mini vacation. I love that town for baseball. You walk into any bar in any section of Chicago, and the White Sox and the Cubs are on TV, and people are into the games.
Oh, it's a great town. It really is. It's a great place to play, either as a home player or visiting player. It really is. Besides being a wonderful city outside of baseball, it is a great baseball town, and the fans of both teams are into it, and it's fun. I really loved going to Chicago. Would much rather have hit in the ballpark they're playing in now than the one that I hit in. But I hit pretty well in the old Comiskey, and I love the infield service, and I love the town, and I'm just mad now when my schedule doesn't allow me to go to Chicago to broadcast games for Fox Sports North, because not a bad place to hang out in and around baseball games.
Yeah, it's the best. All right, let's get there's one of my favorite photos, and there are some great photos in Twins history, and some of them were taken by Star Tribune photographers. There's the great Greg Olson on his head after Dan Gladden smashes into him. There's the Puckett, exulting as he rounds first base after Game 6 homer. But I love the photo of you and your guys, the 5 Twins who hit 20 homers in 1986, and 5 guys who would contribute to a world championship the next year, that hangs in the Twins dugout. And I think they're going to be taking photos like that about, regarding this team here pretty soon.
Oh, they absolutely will. And to put that in perspective, through 1986, when we did that, the Herbeck, Gaetti, Puck, and Bruno and me. So Herbeck, Gaetti, Kirby Puckett, Tom Bernansky, and me all hit 20 or more. Gaetti led the way with 34. Puck had 31. Herbie had 29, and Bruno had 23. I had 20. It just wasn't through 86. It didn't happen that often that 5 guys hit 20 home runs or more. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that special group, and it was, even though we didn't finish well that year, those guys were the nucleus for the World Series winner the next year, and they all had, all those guys had big years next year. So I'm real proud to be part of that group in '86, and as I say, at the time, 5 guys with 20 or more was not very common. Putting what the Twins are doing now, trying to put some perspective on what the Twins hitters are doing now. They've got 8 guys right now that have 15 or more, and they'll probably have 9 and maybe 10. There's 8 guys that have 15 or more. Gonzalez has 12, and Byron Buxton has 9. So outside chance of 10 guys hitting 15 home runs or more. 10 guys. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. And then you go to, how about that? Like we did, how many guys are going to hit 20 or more? They got 3 already in Kepler and Cruz and Rosario. Now, Garver has 19. Crone and Sano have 18. Scope and Polanco have 16. So there's going to be 3 more probably. Get Crone healthy, he'll hit 2 more at least, and he'll hit much more than 2. Garver's going to hit much more than 1. So they're going to have 6 guys, eclipsing the 5 of us back there in '86. But Polanco and Scope was 16 each. If those guys don't hit 4 more each, the Twins might be having some trouble. So right. I think there's a chance they have 8 guys hit 20 home runs or more. Remarkable. I don't even know what to say other than that. It's just incredible.
I wouldn't even be surprised to see Buxton, if Buxton's healthy and he got hot, I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit 20.
Well, I guess I wouldn't be surprised, because we've seen him get hot for a month, and it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing spectacle. I mean, he could go off and hit 7 home runs in a month really easily, maybe even 8. Don't want to say that's going to happen, but he's had a nice kind of mini breakout year this year for them, and I think the sky's the limit. So we'll just see how much he continues down the stretch.
All right, I want to talk about Sano a little bit. Thanks to Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. As I said, I spent a long weekend in Chicago, and so I ended up drinking hotel coffee. I ended up drinking some national brands, walking around town, hitting random coffee shops, and none of it was as good as what I make at home with the equipment I got from Berry Coffee, with the coffee I get from Berry Coffee that I continue to have shipped to my door, so I know it's fresh. In fact, last week, it showed, it's like I called them, check on my order. They said, well, we're making sure it's going to be fresh. We make sure it's absolutely fresh, and we send it out as soon as it gets here. So it's not sitting around a storeroom. It's not sitting in some national company's back lot. It gets there fast. It's fantastic. And the first thing I did when I got home was make myself a good cup of coffee. Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. Steve Brem, Roy's friend, runs the joint, owns the joint, and takes good care of his customers.
Sure does, and not only that, I was talking with Steve a little bit, and he's excited about their the success of their Bevi BEVI machines. They're all natural, still and sparkling water units. That you put in offices or production facilities, very kind. But anyway, his mantra: keeping our customers hydrated with providing green alternatives. So, still water or sparkling water that comes out of a system that's all natural and fresh. Pretty cool.
So
a good alternative to cans and bottles.
Absolutely. So thanks to Steve for sponsoring the program and his support of TalkNorth.com. And again, I love the products. All right, Miguel Sano, you've predicted many things. You predicted Sano would come out of that slump. He did. You predicted the Twins would have somewhat of a slowdown or a downturn, if you don't want to call it a full-on slump. That happened. You also predicted that once the schedule turned, the Twins would be in pretty good shape, and they go to Chicago, take 3 out of 4, and get back to a 2-game lead. The Sano thing is fascinating, though, because not only has he been remarkably productive. I think it's 9 homers in his last 25 games. I think he's hitting .321 with 9 homers. But the fact that he was relaxed and confident enough just poke a home run to right field on Sunday, to me, was maybe the best sign we've seen yet.
Yeah, it was my favorite at bat I've seen from him in a long, long time. I sure liked catching up with Zach Britton's 96-mile-an-hour fastball that he hit over the bullpen at home, about 450 or 60 feet. The fact that was so close to center field, and the fact that it was 96, kind of belt high, which has given him trouble in the past, that was great. But he got a little cutter ball yesterday, moving away from him with a 2-1 count, and I won't say that he was trying to hit the ball to right field, but he wasn't trying to hit the ball to left, which is, and he just proved all these little things. When he hits the ball 450 feet to center field for a home run, when he hits one, inside the foul line on a outside, a ball moving away from him, all of those things are either consciously he's going to go, oh, okay, now I get it, or ultimately subconsciously, just from experience, he's going to understand that if he just moves that contact point, that his target contact point from way out in front, trying to hit the ball to the left, to back toward the plate just a little bit more, the home runs are going to be more frequent because he'll make more contact, just like he's been doing this last month. But he'll hit them all over the ballpark, and the breaking balls that have gotten him out, the ones away from him he'll take, the ones that hang he'll hit 600 feet to left field. And I just think with his new mechanics now, his swing is shorter, he's getting to the ball better now, and so I think you see him just starting to calm down. And even if he's not consciously trying to let the ball travel further, I think as he understands his new mechanics and understands that he's shorter and quicker to the ball, I think that will be a natural outgrowth of what happens. And hopefully he keeps this up. The second half of the season, he could literally carry the club on his shoulders. With several other guys that could do that. Just another great addition. But again, the progression of what he could do the second half and then into the rest of his career has got me a little excited here.
Yes, and if you're one of the Twins fans who thought he should have been cut, just please don't admit that to anybody. Keep that your secret. And if you are now saying they should trade Sano, please keep that your secret as well. Don't say things that you're going to regret in the future. You don't trade an MVP quality slugger. You will not get equal return, and you don't want him embarrassing you the rest of his life. The home run he hit off Britton, that's one of the loudest sounds I've ever heard at a ballpark.
Oh, man. It was like a cannon was shot off from home plate. It was incredible. And it wasn't like there weren't any people in the stands making noise. I mean, there was 35,000 people there, and and everybody excited and all that stuff. And that thing, it just sounded like an explosion off the bat. You don't get that sound from very, very many people. And look, I mean, let's be real about this. There will be backslides. There will be times when it doesn't work. He'll swing and miss balls by 2 feet. Different